Hey everybody, Goosebumps for Dummies here, and today we are going to be reviewing It Came From Beneath the Sink, the TV episode. This is based off the 30th book of the original Goosebumps series of the same name, and it aired on February 2nd, 1996, which is, funnily, my mom's 10th birthday. She was 10 when this episode aired. She had just turned 10. And it is her birthday today. Well, tomorrow, because I'm sure it's on the 1st, but you're seeing this February 2nd, so it's a very fucking stars align kind of video. Not only is the 30th anniversary of this episode, but my mom's 40th birthday. Happy birthday, Mama. And I don't own a copy of the DVD of this episode. Hopefully I'll get one at some point this year, maybe just in the future. But yeah, my 10 years of collecting, it shows that a lot of the DVDs are pretty hard to find in the wild. Some way more commonly, like Shrunken Head one. I found that one like goddamn 5 times. But this one, no, I've never even found it once, nor the other version of it that was re-released with the more ugly cover. I don't know if I'm showing on the screen, but yeah, it's ugly. But either way, we're going to be reviewing it today because why the fuck not? Let's get to it. Since I don't own the DVD and there is no VHS to come off or anything to read off from any other DVDs, I'm just going to read off screen from the official DVD description online. There's something creepy lurking beneath the kitchen sink. It may look and feel like a regular sponge, but it is no ordinary sponge. It's alive! When Kat discovers it in her new house, life becomes a grueling experience. Ever since the sponge turned up, Kat's luck seems to be going from bad to worse. If she can just get rid of this evil sponge for good, her life would return normal. But this is one sponge that's hard to rub out. Thanks for the lovely description, Goosebumps for Dummies, or Alejandro. And now, what do I think of this episode? Well, I like it. I don't love it, but it's pretty solid. One thing I really noticed with this episode is that the main trio, which is Kat and her brother and her brother's friends, is great. I actually think their acting is great too, so every actor in this episode and actress did a good job, which is good. Nice to see that for a kids program, but yeah, the main trio in this episode was quite likable, and I liked especially seeing the 2 younger kids. They did a great job, they were fun to watch, and another character, I guess, that I enjoyed was the Gruel, which, I mean, there's some comments I could say negative about the Gruel. It's a fucking sponge, but it does have a threat level that is kind of unique since it may be a sponge, but it can do very terrible things, plus Kat is at risk of dying, though it's not really explained how that even works, or maybe she'll just get sick, I don't know. But either way, I like the threat level, I like the Gruel itself as an entity. It's very interesting with all its bad luck and mechanics of it in general and how it works, and what it's able to do, whether willingly or not. And the design is fine, I guess. You know, they did what they could. They gave it 2 red glowing dots, and they made it pulse, which I guess is kind of gross, a living sponge. But yeah, I liked it enough. I thought the Gruel was interesting and a nice little addition. It makes this episode more memorable. And speaking of memorable, the climax and the ending. Both those go hand in hand in being very memorable, because the climax has the whole chemical leak thing, and it's just a very fun close to it, especially with the big twist that it's not much a surprise, but they kill the Gruel that you have to kill with kindness, akin to how I believe the book closed. And yeah, I really like that. And then there's the add-on with the Lanks. Iconic killer potato. Gotta love it. The cinematography is good with the directing and stuff, and I like the score of this one. Some pretty good music there. And one thing that did shock me a little with, you know, it being a 90s program, maybe it's because it was season 1, I don't know, and they're trying to press more, was the fact that the effects were actually really solid. You know, the Gruel looked good for being a killer fucking sponge. The Lanks looked great for being the close to the episode, you know. But it's not just that, like, the actual CGI with the sponge growing and the mist and all this stuff, it actually looked pretty decent, so not horrendously dated at all, really. I think it'd pass even nowadays. Not as much, but it still looks okay for the budget. So yeah. Time for negatives. The first half of this episode is noticeably weaker. There is a huge jump in quality somewhere in there, especially with the acting and the characters becoming an actual trio, I guess is when this episode really picks up. But yeah, the first half of this episode is pretty lackluster, and I'll get to the plot in a second too. It's just not a lot really happens that's interesting. It introduces the Gruel. It's introduced to be alive, I guess, too. And it's a bit repetitive with this bad stuff building up and up and up. And it's not the most interesting thing, especially on rewatching how this thing works. So yeah, the first half's just kind of eh. And the plot in general is just kind of lackluster as a whole. It's a fucking killer sponge that can make bad things happen. There could have been something a lot more interesting done with the idea of the sponge, and whilst I think the saving grace for interest in this episode is the gruel and how it works, it's not like completely carrying this thing. It's still kind of a weakly plotted episode. It's very meh overall. It's literally just, here's a killer sponge that makes bad things happen. Let's see what happens. And bad things happen. So yeah, let's rate this thing. I give this episode a 6.5 out of 10. It Came From Beneath the Sink is a very solid, quick watch, but nothing I'd ever come back to. And that's about the most I can say about it. Good stuff in it, but nothing crazy. Lackluster plot doesn't really help, especially with the first half being pretty slow. But there's merit, the back half, the characters, I like them, cinematography, score is good, all that stuff. But just an okay episode, nothing worth ever really revisiting once you've seen it. On the fright meter, I'm going to give this 1.5 skulls out of 5. It's not very scary. There's this more substantial threat that Kat will die, and that is a bit frightening, but it's also the fact that we don't really see any fallout of this, because it's like, yeah, Kat will die, but how? And will she actually? There's no real showing of that. I think the best way I could fix that is just making her, actually start dying in the episode. Whether it be just growing paler, or feeling sick, or wanting to throw up, and it's like, oh no, she's dying! Something like that. But yeah, the sponge gruel, kind of scary, but not exactly the most frightening thing ever. I mean, it's a fucking sponge with glowing eyes and I guess some supernatural abilities, but whatever. And, I mean, Shrunky Approved really only talks about the score, not the fright meter, so 6.5 out of 10, a light Shrunky Approved. Again, see it once, you don't really need to see it again. It's worth a quick watch, just nothing to come back to, really. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode review. I almost said book review, because I'm so used to that. Happy anniversary of this episode. I'm not really doing anniversary reviews, not really much at all. But I figured since this was already lining up with the next one I wanted to do, I'm like, fuck it, Next one should be Vampire Breath. I guess I'll start teasing. And hopefully we'll get to a 2-parter soon, because we have not talked about enough, I feel. I'm trying to save most of them, though, for later. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one. Bye.